Hi, I'm Gene McLaughlin. I'd like to welcome you to Old Bridge Outlook with Mayor Owen Henry. On this program, the mayor has an opportunity to chat with you about things taking place in the township and to introduce you to people making things happen in the township. Mayor, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Gene. Thank you for having me again.
Well, Mayor, it seems you've been a busy man lately.
You know, it's just so much going on in Old Bridge, Gene. It's scary sometimes.
Yeah.
My schedule is just booked from morning to night, 7 days a week. There's always something going on in our community, and I think that's a good thing.
That is definitely
really
a good thing, yeah.
The events I attend during the week and on the weekends, I get to meet a lot of Old Bridge residents, a lot of
Right.
people from outside, and always like to have the conversation with the resident and talk to them about what's going on in town.
And that
So
way
it gives me an
everybody
opportunity.
and that way everybody knows you, including the little kids I see.
Yeah, everywhere I go, people say it's the mayor, or the kids, hey, that's the mayor. You know,
Right.
So,
You got to
good
get
news,
some.
bad news, Gene.
Well, you got to get some glossies and some autographs.
Yes, I
and
did.
That's what you
People asked
need.
me for autographs. I said, no, I'm not famous. But it's difficult. You know, my half-hour trip to the store turns into 2 hours.
Right, I'm sure.
But that's good. It's all
Right.
good.
Well, Mayor, since last we met, we did have one, I think, important event in the township, and that was the Business Alliance Forum. It was held a couple of weeks ago over at the Grand Marquis. What was your impression of the night?
Wow. That was,
Yeah.
it was a great turnout. There had to be a couple hundred people there.
Right.
The highlight of the day for me was the Lieutenant Governor
Yeah,
came to town.
very nice.
I had an opportunity to spend over an hour with her. We drove her around the township of Old Bridge. She didn't realize how big it was, how nice it was, and she was impressed. And we went to some critical spots in town, the crossroads. We showed her the iSims building. We showed her the 2 Walmarts here in Old Bridge. We showed her where the potential areas for growth here in Old Bridge are.
Right.
The infrastructure that goes through Old Bridge. She wasn't aware about how big Old Bridge
No, I'm sure.
really
I'm sure.
was. So I had a great day, and that night was just filled with some good. We kicked off our two new programs
Yes,
that
sir.
night at the Alliance. Well received. The tax rebate / credit card, Think Old Bridge card,
Right.
and also the Safe Ride Home initiative
Yeah.
was
That I think is great.
good. If anyone needs any information on any of those programs, please contact my office. Participate. It was just, I can't say enough about the people that showed
Yeah.
up that night, the amount of people that showed up.
Yeah, I
the
was surprised. It
enthusiasm
was
showed up.
encouraging. It was very encouraging. Mayor, as we sit here, we are about to, I think, finally see the first days of summer, the warm weather, put the snow shovels
Yeah,
away.
we had a record cold the other night.
Well, I know.
My tomato plants had a cold.
You had to bring those in too, huh?
Yeah, it was a record cold. But it looks like the long-range forecast now is that the weather's supposed to get nice, start getting warm, and get back into spring.
Well, Mayor, I hope it stays warm because, as you know, coming up will be our unofficial welcoming to summer, and that's the Memorial Day Parade.
Right, and it's something I look forward to every year. Again, it gives me an opportunity to stand up in front of a lot of Old Bridge residents and express my gratitude for the men and women who have served our country,
Right.
and especially Memorial Day, a special day for me. It's my birthday this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was born
Okay.
on May 30th, the
Okay.
original Memorial Day or Decoration Day, whatever you want to
Okay,
call it.
good.
And say thank you again and remember those lives lost.
Right.
And that's what day is special is. When you refer to it as the beginning of summer, I don't see it as the beginning of summer. I think it is Memorial Day.
Memorial Day, right.
And we should do that every day. We should thank those people who've lost their lives to save our freedom. And as we look around the world today, how unstable it has
Yes,
become.
yeah, definitely.
And hope and pray that another generation doesn't have to go through
Go
this
through
process
this.
again in order to maintain sanity in our world. And, the United States has always been the world's police force,
Right.
and it looks like we're going to have to continue down that road in order to guarantee our safety here in our country, on our shores. So it's something I look forward to every year. This will be my 5th Memorial Day parade.
Right.
And we've been blessed with good weather the last 4
Right.
years. I look forward to walking the entire parade route, shaking as many hands as I possibly can and saying hello to the people, and then having a couple of minutes to stand in front of them at the end of the day and just voice a few words. And I think the best part of that day is introducing our Grand Marshal from Old Bridge.
Well, I think you gave me the perfect cue, Mayor. I want to thank you for that. Folks, we're delighted to welcome in today our special guest, a very distinguished guest, our Grand Marshal of our parade, a member of the greatest generation, Helene Catani. is our Grand Marshal. And Helene, welcome. It's an honor having you here today.
Thank you.
Honored to sit at the same table with you.
You'll be walking the parade and riding the parade with the mayor as well, huh? Okay, Helene, if we can talk about a couple things, share a few thoughts with the people. You have had an incredible life. If you don't mind my asking, when were you born? How old are you?
I was born April 18th, 1920.
1920, which makes
96 years
you, I'm not counting, but it makes you 96.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Looking at your bio, and you have an incredible bio, you got interested early on in nursing. Tell us about how it came. You mentioned off the air that your mom was a nurse.
Yeah, my mother was a registered nurse, and as soon as I learned how to read, I would get her nursing books and read.
And that got you interested.
Yeah.
And what did your dad do?
He had a hardware store.
But you mentioned earlier that he was also early on joined the Army during the
Yeah.
Spanish-American
Well,
War.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he stayed in the Army. He went back in
He
the Army
didn't
later on.
He stayed, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years. I'm not sure.
And how about your brother?
My brother was in the Navy, and he was at Pearl Harbor the day it was bombed. He was on the ship, the USS Maryland, and the ship was damaged, but he did not get hurt there. His classmate from high school was on the USS.
On the Arizona?
Yeah, the Arizona, and he went down with the ship.
Wow, and you mentioned earlier that just for the twist of fate, your brother might have been on that same
Yeah,
ship.
because his classmate wanted him to get on the Arizona in San Diego, and he says, wait till we get to Pearl Harbor and I'll see.
Wow.
Thank God he did.
Just a twist of fate.
Yes.
You saw in the paper that the military needed nurses,
Yeah.
and that brought you where? To the Army Nurse Corps?
Yep.
In what year?
Well, I went in 43.
In
Yeah,
1943.
my nurse corps, yeah.
And what was your first assignment?
I went to
Helene?
Camp Davis in North Carolina. It was about 30 miles from Camp Lejeune, which
Okay.
everybody knows where that is.
Right. And who were your patients then that you cared
We
for?
just had all different kinds of patients. I mean, there was some that had orthopedic, some had ulcers, some had, gosh, I don't know, all different kinds.
It was
They're
all
each-
different kinds of wounds.
Mm.
And I noticed somewhere that some of them had infectious diseases too at that time,
Yeah.
had malaria and things like
Yeah,
that.
they were sent back until they got straightened out as to what they were going to do with the patient.
But then you got the big call to go to Europe.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. That must have been quite an adventure. As
Yes, it
mentioned in
was.
your bio, zigzagging
we-
across the
Yeah.
Atlantic, huh?
Yeah, we were on the ship. The USS America was the largest cruise ship for America,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
they turned it into a troop ship. And we were on that, but it went faster than some of the other ships, so we zigzagged across the ocean because they couldn't keep up with us.
Elude the
escort
German
ships.
The
subs.
U-boats.
Yeah, the U-boats, yeah.
Yeah.
Mayor Helene's had incredible experiences, huh?
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
We haven't even touched on some of the other things she did.
And that's why you realize why so many people are interested in World War II.
Right.
Such a fascinating time in our history.
I know.
The country just really all came together as one
Yes.
and really united.
Yeah, he did.
It did.
Helene, when you got to Europe, you first landed in Marseille in France, and
Yeah.
then what happened?
Well, we stayed there a few nights, but we slept in an attic on our bedrolls.
So that wasn't too comfortable.
No.
Okay. And then what happened? You moved up
Then
closer to the front?
Yeah, then we got on a train and went to Dijon, France. And there we took care of people who were coming from the Battle of the Bulge.
Wow.
And the ward I worked on was a orthopedic ward. And those patients were unbelievable.
Yeah, you
The way
mentioned that
that-
earlier. What characterized them in your mind, those kind of patients? What did they demonstrate?
Well, to me, they weren't thinking of themselves. They were thinking of others. And they'd try to help. If one had one arm up like this in a cast, he'd take the other arm and go help somebody else.
Really?
And today you don't find patients like that.
What
They
kind, of
complain.
what kind of a toll did that take on you emotionally?
Well, I don't know. It's just, I was glad I was there to help take care of
Right, and somewhere along the way you were promoted to the Silver Bar, huh?
Yeah,
First
but
lieutenant.
later after we left Dijon.
Okay. I saw also in your bio that you had to relax and you had the great opportunity to go to Paris, huh?
Yeah, went to Paris.
How were
we
those
went
trips?
to Chateau to spend a weekend. We went on a trip to Bonn, France, which has one of the oldest hospitals.
Right.
And that was very interesting because the beds were not like the beds in the hospital here. They had the beds up against the wall. These were sideways.
Okay.
And every ward had a place that a priest could come in to say Mass in each
really?
ward.
Wow. And along the way you received a Bronze Star,
Yeah.
which you are proudly wearing right now.
Yeah.
Okay, and that was given why, Helene? Why were you given that?
Because we were taking care of the Battle of the Bulge. We were considered in that.
Considered in
In that-
the line of fire.
Uh,
Okay. And then you were going to
We-
go to...
we went
Go
to
ahead.
Marseille,
Please.
to Metz
Yes.
from there. And then while we were there, the war ended.
Mhm.
Because we had set up our hospital, but no patients.
Right.
So,
But
The
you were
war
being
ended.
transferred then?
huh?
You were going to be transferred?
Yeah. And then they couldn't decide what they were going to do with the hospitals. They were trying to divide us all up different places. But we got back together and went to Marseille to stage for the China, Burma, India.
Okay, and what happened along the way? You never got to China. What happened?
Well, the war ended
Hmm.
over there, and they brought us home instead of taking us over there.
And home you came.
Yeah.
And one thing you didn't mention is
Yeah,
that
oh.
while you were over there, you
Yeah, I
met
met-
your future husband.
Yeah, I met him in Metz, France.
And how'd that come about?
Well, at a party that his outfit had, and they invited the nurses, so I met
And
him there.
the rest is history, huh?
Yeah,
Did you know that Albert was the man for you at that time?
I don't, not really.
You didn't
Yeah.
think about it that much at
Yeah.
that time, huh?
But then
Okay.
our first date, we went into Luxembourg for dinner, which was, not many people do that, go from France into
No.
another country.
Well, fantastic.
And then when I went down to Marseille to stage for the China, Burma, India, his outfit was in Istris, which was about 30 miles away. So the whole summer we were down on the Mediterranean. Then in August, got on the ship to head for China, Burma, India. The war ended, and they brought us home.
Okay, well, Helene, you came to a very good point because it's time to take a break. So if you hold your thought, when we come back, we're going to pick up what happened to you after you got home. Okay? Folks, we're going to take a break right now. Please stay with us. We'll be back in a moment.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
This is the story of a boy who is very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help. And slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Forget about it, kid. You're in the storm drain now.
But I should be in the trash can.
People threw all of us down here. Then they hosed in those rotting leaves. We're litter now. We gotta stick together. Here's our ride to the beach.
Am I litter?
Not just litter, kid. You're pollution.
What goes in our storm drains ends up on our beaches. Clean water. It's up to you, New Jersey. Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
French fries. Finding best potatoes.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft.
To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
Folks, welcome back to Old Bridge Outlook with Mayor Owen Henry. Today we have a high honor of welcoming in our Grand Marshal for the Memorial Day Parade, Helene Cantani. She is a lady that served in World War II, so she is definitely a member of the greatest generation. And we're going to pick up our discussion with her. The war is over, and you are coming home. And maybe as you come home, you can explain one thing to us. There was this flag that people held in their windows. Helene, what was that all about?
They had a person in service. They had the blue stars.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
if a person died, they had a gold star.
That's
on
where the
it.
Gold Star Mother
Yeah.
thing. Okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah.
When you got home, you got married. When
Well,
you came home, you married Albert.
Yeah.
And where did you first live?
We lived in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn. And what took place there? Were you working then? Were you
No,
still
I never-
nursing, or do you?
I never went nurse at all because he didn't want me to work.
Okay. What did Albert do?
He was a food broker.
A food broker.
He represented canneries for canned food.
Oh, okay. So you were basically a homemaker and a
I was-
mom,
Yeah,
and you had 5 children.
yeah. I had 4 in Brooklyn and then 1 in Jersey.
Okay. And what did you like about Brooklyn at the time, growing up there and being married there?
Well, really, to me, after living in North Carolina, Brooklyn to me was like sticker shock.
I bet
Because
it was.
houses were so close together and everything was so different
Yeah.
from anything I'd ever been around.
Were you
But all the family and everybody that I met were very nice, so I can't complain about them. But it was sticker shock seeing Brooklyn to begin with.
okay? Were you a Brooklyn Dodger fan? Or
I
weren't
really
you a baseball
wasn't.
fan? Nobody, no?
My husband was, but
Okay, I'm glad. Okay. Okay, good. And then what happened? You left Brooklyn and you relocated to
Lawrence Township, which was down near Princeton.
Princeton. And your youngest daughter was born there?
Yeah.
Okay, and tell us about Lawrence Township. You were still a homemaker then, still a mom?
I was still a homemaker and a mom, but I was driving kids everywhere.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I was I guess you could say a chauffeur. Margaret could vouch for that because they all went in different directions and I was driving and taking them. And then in between time, I would volunteer at a nursing home that
Oh,
was
you would?
down there.
Okay. I was just going to ask you had any other interests, any other hobbies? Did you and Albert travel? Or?
Yeah, we used to travel places and then when he'd go to conventions or to canneries out on the West Coast,
Oh,
I'd go
really?
with him.
Okay. And how
And
did you
we'd-
travel in those days? By train or drive?
Would fly most of the
You would
time
fly?
to go out to the West Coast.
Okay.
To go to North Carolina, would drive.
Do you still have relatives in North Carolina?
I have nephews.
And do you ever see
Yeah,
them?
and I saw them, I guess, about a year ago.
Okay. They ever come to see you?
They haven't been up here.
They don't come to see you, huh? Okay, and then you ended up in Ridgewood, New Jersey.
Yeah,
And how long were you there?
25 years.
25 years. And why Ridgewood? What did you like about Ridgewood?
Well, because they had their brokerage office in Paramus.
Oh, okay.
And we moved up closer there.
And for a number of years you volunteered at the Veterans Hospital in Paramus?
Well, that was after my husband died. Before then, I volunteered at Valley Hospital.
Oh, really? Okay. And what did you do at the Veterans Hospital?
Well, I played would deal blackjack.
Really?
The best therapy, right?
Yeah. And then I would feed people and push wheelchairs. And
so you were still able to bring your nurturing and nursing skills to bear a bit, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, that must have been pretty
and
satisfying for you.
It was good.
Okay, and today you're in Old Bridge, and you've been in Old Bridge, you told me before we started the broadcast, how many years?
I think it was 97.
So about 19
I
years?
know.
12 years?
Gosh, I can't remember exactly what year I moved
You're in
here.
Mahar Manor now?
Yeah, but I lived in Glenwood before.
Oh, okay. Okay. And with your longevity, how many grandchildren you have? How many grandchildren?
Is it 10
About
grandchildren?
10 grandchildren and
And
about nine?
9, yeah.
9 great-grandchildren.
Yeah, I have to count them up.
How do you buy presents for all these kids?
Only the great-grandkids get
They're
a
the
gift.
only ones who get the presents. Otherwise, you'd go broke. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
When you're in Mar Manor now, what do you do? You have any hobbies there? Any interests, or
Well,
you hang out, or you play
We hang
cards,
out,
or-
we do different things.
Okay. When you look back on your long life, focus back on the war a bit. What's your greatest impression of World War II as you take away now, as you look back
It
through
was
history?
the way everybody went together, whether they were civilian or in service. Everybody wanted to do things.
And what's your impression of what's going on in the country today?
Well,
As
today,
someone who's seen a lot.
I think people should not complain about everything like they do.
Mayor, you can
I
probably
agree with
attest to
that,
that. Mayor, you can
Yeah.
attest to that, right? You like that, huh?
No, but they do. They complain about everything. They didn't live through a depression and
Right,
a
you-
war.
Yes.
They expect everything to be handed to them when they want it.
You have seen some pretty tough times. You lived through depression, as you said, through the
Yeah.
war. Tough times.
Yeah.
Do you think people get along better now than they did then, or is it
I
more?
don't think so.
Think more of an issue now?
I think more people, I don't know, they're getting cliques, racial cliques or whatever. They don't, not like.
What would you like to see happen if you were, running things? What would you like to change? What would you like to see take place?
I just like to see people be happy and get along.
Okay, it sounds good. Mayor, we're delighted to have Helene as our Grand Marshal this year, but maybe you could take a few minutes and review the process, the selection process. How do we get at the naming of a Grand Marshal?
Well, knowing that we're going to have this event every year, Jim, we start thinking way in advance. We brainstorm, we'll get together, so we can identify a member of our community that either lives here or has had a major impact on our community, and we'll send letters out to our veteran organizations to see if they have someone in mind that they would like to, not nominate, but just recommend. And in Helene's case, she was at last year's parade.
Right.
We identified her in the crowd. We asked, and she had told us that she was a veteran. And right away, I said, "There's our next year's marshal." So this year was we were done with last year. But the normal process, Gene, is I say, if anyone has someone in their family that they think should be recognized, Memorial Day parade. I said they've had to have, obviously, they have to have a veteran. And they've had to have an impact on our community, them or their family.
Right.
And the 4 prior Grand Marshals have been wonderful speakers. It's sometimes you just don't realize the bravery and the honor that's been displayed by residents
Oh, I
in
know.
our community.
I know.
We've had Mr. Erickson was in Korea, 2 Bronze Stars, and he was just outstanding.
Right.
And you never hear it when you know these people, and they never.
I know, and they never mentioned it. I know.
They never mentioned it that they had served. So.
When you go through the screening process, how many candidates generally
We
emerge?
usually have 2 or 3 2 or 3, and then we'll look at it and ask. Sometimes people don't want. We'll reach out to them and say no, we don't.
Right,
we
they don't want it.
We
right.
don't want this. But in Helene's case, she accepted, so we're fortunate, and things work out for a reason sometimes.
The last thing, what do you think about being chosen as the Grand Marshal of the parade?
Well, I think it's an honor, but it's a little overwhelming too.
Don't be overwhelmed.
It is. Oh, we don't want you to be overwhelmed. I think it's a high honor for us
Yeah,
to have
it's
you. To have you with your background, your history, a veteran. I want to thank you for your service, Helene. You did a wonderful job, and I'm
Okay.
sure on Memorial Day you're going to do a fantastic job
Oh, I
because we'll
hope
be there
so.
taping you and waving at you. Okay?
Okay.
Mayor, so you have anything to add as we...
Not much you can say after that interview.
No.
Jim. We thank you again, Helene, for your service, and what I think is more amazing, just the life story of being born in 1920. Here we are in 2016. You've seen a lot of change.
Yes.
And you've done a good job with your life. You've been a productive member of society
Oh,
from day
thank you.
one. So you're very impressed.
Oh,
and
thank
you for living in Old Bridge. Thank you for choosing to stay here with us.
Oh,
and we're
thank you.
honored to have you as our Grand Marshal.
Oh,
It's an
thank
honor.
you.
And Helene, again, many more years of good health and, happiness, okay?
Thank you.
And folks, before we go, we've just got 2 announcements. Number one, on Friday, May 27th, there's going to be the wreath laying, Memorial Day wreath laying at the monument out here in the center of the center at 10:30 a.m. And on Monday, May 30th, the Memorial Day parade kicks off at 9 o'clock on Lawrence Harbor Parkway. The formation is at Memorial School. So we hope to see you out there. And we want you to remember, as the mayor alluded to before, Memorial Day is a day of remembrance, a day of memories, honoring those who fought for this country, both living and those who have passed on. It's really not a day of partying. It is a day that we should treat with more reverence. I want to thank you very much for watching. I want to thank Helene for being our guest today. And this has been Old Bridge Outlook for this time. I'm Gene McLaughlin, and we'll see you next time. Take care.